All right. Hey, how you doing? This is Everything and Nothing Out with your boy, Mr. K Breeze. And I have my bestie.
Hi, guys. My name is Jade.
All right. And today we just want to talk about the A3C Festival and kind of what we learned, what we experienced, how we felt, and what really went on today. I mean, well, not today. This entire week. It ended on Saturday. Today is Saturday. And I started Tuesday?
I think so.
Okay.
I came a little bit later. I came for the weekend.
Okay, so I came here on Tuesday, and it started with a mixer for me, and I actually came by accident. So I just kind of arrived.
Okay, how do you come by accident?
Okay, so I was walking down the street. Shout out to Kazar from Coalition DJs. I appreciate you having me, man. I appreciate you looking out. He's the whole reason I'm here, and like I said, I'm just grateful and honored that he would allow me to come to the event with him, and he put me up on game with a lot of this.
Okay, so when you first got here, what was your impression? What did it feel like?
At first, nothing was going on when I first got here. The only thing that was going on was I bumped into Kazar, and he told me that Mos Def was here. He told me Mos Def was here, so I went and sat in the lobby and waited like 2 hours for Mos Def to come out. And shout out to Mos Def, he gave me a handshake and everything. It was cool. He was a really, really cool dude.
Wow.
And I didn't even really talk to him. I just shook his hand and was like, yo, you the man, walked off. That was really it.
That's it?
Well, yeah, he was leaving.
You didn't want to do like, oh my God, Mos Def! We haven't seen you in like forever.
I don't want to do that because if I blow, I don't want people to do that to me.
Okay,
like, yeah,
okay.
Like,
so you're like subtle with it, like, okay.
I just wanted to handshake. I wanted to let him know that he's a GOAT. Well, not the GOAT, but he's one of the GOATs, and I appreciate his presence. You know what I mean?
Okay. So, very random. My friend Nikki, shout out Nikki, she was like, hey, you want to go to this event? I was like, I don't even know what this event is, but I'm all about like opportunities and trying things out of my comfort zone. So I just showed up after work yesterday. So
what does Nikki do?
Nikki is actually an Army soldier that does public affairs. She's in Atlanta right now doing her internship. Mm-hmm. But she's like all about Atlanta. And since you all don't know me, I just moved to Atlanta. So I'm trying to get like my bearing, like meet people, going to a new city. It's very different and trying to make those connections. So I just showed up by myself and I was like, hey, what's this worth? I'm just going to check it out. But let's talk about how we met. Like, okay, I'll let you go first. Talk about that.
Well, I'm doing my thing. Obviously, as a podcaster, I have to network. I don't have to. I could be lazy. But in my mind, I feel like I need to network with every single soul. I need to actually meet as many people as possible so that when it comes time for me to have interviews and things like that, I have a wide variety of people to speak to. I just kind of ran up on her at random. I was like, hey, my name is K Breeze. What is it that you do? And that's kind of the same line I get to everybody. But this crazy lady grabbed my phone and started recording me. I was like, oh, I have to have her on my podcast.
Awesome.
I have to have her.
So, like, this is my perspective, everybody. There's always like two sides, two sides, maybe three. My side, your side, and like what actually happened. So I was like, yesterday I didn't know anybody, and K Breeze was like, hey, I'm K Breeze. And I was like, okay, it was K Breeze. And he's like, oh, you gave me the spill. And I said, okay, you're a podcaster, so let me ask you questions. Because podcasters are usually the ones that are asking questions. And for me, I'm always curious about your why. Like, well, why did you start doing this? Like, what's your journey? Like, what's your goal? That's what I'm focused on. So thanks for being like a great person, for like going with the flow. Because most people probably would say like, oh, I don't know her, but you did do that, and you posted it. So I thought you were going to just say, oh, okay, I'll do it. But you actually shared that.
That's a waste of film, and you have extremely good energy. Like it was great energy from the jump. So I had no problem posting it. I actually felt like it was a very, very funny little clip. Because when you took my phone, the first thing I thought to do was just start goofing off. but it was, like I said, it was extremely good energy from the moment I met you. You just bubbly and everything, really, really nice.
So I want to emphasize something. So we didn't know each other, but when you come to these events and you're open and just willing to take a risk, sometimes good synergy happens. So at A3C, this is our interaction. We got good energy, and then we met back up by random today. So sometimes it's opportunity meets chance. So I was like, I want to do this podcast with you today because we're here in this moment, and I wouldn't want to waste it. So what was your big thing that you took away from this conference?
I think one thing that they were saying that I had already started doing was obviously being more aggressive. I think the biggest thing I took was the consistency. Not just the consistency, but keeping that same positive energy. Oh my goodness, I got something in mind. But keeping that same positive energy at all times. Really, really pushing to use all the means of social media, things like that, to push my brand. And then constructing something that's not what I feel, but what the people actually want from me. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times, if you watch any of these podcasts that I do, it's basically what I'm thinking about at the moment. If I'm thinking about whatever, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not necessarily talking about what the people actually want to hear. And I think that's been my biggest setback.
Okay. I guess, what's your why? Why are you doing this podcast?
I never thought about my why, but I will say this. I started it because one day my dad, this was like 2001, 2002. Okay. My dad, well, this was 2001 after September 11th. My dad was talking about the news, and he was like, every time you turn on the news, it's just bad news. That's the only thing they show on the news. So when I started doing this, I was like, well, okay, so I want to be in control of what it is that people see. I want to be in control of the media. Like when you look at my podcast, or in the future, when you look at the network of podcasts that I want to put out, not just me, of other people as well, but when you look at the network of podcasts, I want them to be positive. I want them to be something that you enjoy. Even if it's about the news, I want you to at least be able to laugh, you know what I mean? I want your family to be able to enjoy it.
Awesome. Wow. That was really deep. That's really deep. Okay. So what does success look like to you? So you have all things equal and you could get everything. What does success look like to you in the future?
I think success would just basically be me living my dream, okay, not worried about money, and my family happy. If my family's happy, I really don't care about nothing. I really, really don't care.
Okay, wow. Shout out to K Breezy's family. He wants his family to be happy.
I love y'all.
I think for me, being at this conference, it's totally different. I've never really thought about the music industry, so I just popped up to see what I can take away from it, and like what can I do to incorporate to be like a better communicator. So one of the things I heard a lot about today is authenticity. So being yourself. Dapper Dan, 2 Chainz, Stacey Abrams, they talked about, especially Stacey Abrams, she talked about
I didn't even know she was here.
Oh yeah, she was great.
I'm so sorry I missed that one, man.
She was so great.
I met her once, but that's neither here nor there. Keep going.
I never met her, but actually, I take that back. I met her last year in D.C. at the Congressional Black Caucus in one of these networking events, mixers. I just happened to show up, and she was there, and she was talking about her vision. But actually, hearing her talk about her vision and seeing what she actually did was amazing. But in the speech today, she talked about being the best loser. Like, she is the best loser she knows. So it's not all about winning, but it's redefining what we feel that winning is. So I thought that was interesting because Stacey Abrams, she's comfortable in her skin and she's comfortable with being who she is. And I think as a storyteller, as a communicator, I'm always trying to get people to be okay with being authentic, whatever their story is, that's their story, and there's no one that can be youer than you, to quote Dr. Seuss. So it was just interesting to hear about people and hear about their visions, and just connecting, because sometimes letting other people hear your story, and letting people know the why, because the why matters in your process and how you're getting there, and taking people along for the journey is just such an amazing thing. And I'm always rooting for people. So
what is your why?
My why? My why is I love people. I care about people, and I care about the community that I'm in. So I see myself, and my friends would tell you I'm a connector. So maybe if I meet you and I hear your why, I'll connect you. It's like, hey, I know somebody that knows somebody, and I think you two could connect. It could be very your synergy could be really good. So I'm good at seeing patterns and seeing like seeing patterns and say, hey, you say this, but have you considered this? Have you like expanded your horizon? And I give a shout out to my dad, because my dad always says alone and unafraid. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to try out new things. So I like to try out new things, because you don't know what you don't know. So that's why I'm here at like a hip hop conference with.
Tell them what you actually do.
So I work for the government. So shout out to the DOD, and shout out to our service members and their families, because they're just so amazing, and I just get so invigorated and be able to support them and share their story, because their story is America's story. So shout out to all services. Shout out to the Army, because that's how I started my career, working for the Army, doing public relations, public affairs. So there's no greater team I want to be a part of than the DOD team. So shout out service members and families.
Cool.
So what else did you learn? Okay, so what's some of your next steps? So you heard all this information. So
the next step was using the connections. Obviously, I was able to network a lot, but it wasn't enough to just get people IG and stuff like that. It's actually using the connections that I've made to not just benefit myself, but benefit them as well. If I'm meeting someone, I'm working with someone, okay, I want them to benefit just as much as I'm going to benefit. So that goes with the people who are going to be the videographers or the hosts that come on. Whoever comes on, I want them to have the greatest show that they've ever been on, so that when I sell it back to them, like, they actually have a great experience. The next thing is actually putting people in better positions. I want the actual film that we shoot or the podcast that we have to actually be something that reveals a little bit more about who they are, allowing potential investors or whoever to actually want to buy in.
Wow. Okay.
Because I'm dealing with a lot of artists. This is the A3C Festival. It's a lot of artists. I did meet people who are like digital marketers and PR people and people who develop apps and things like that, lawyers as well. But I mean, the biggest thing was the artists and producers. Those are the main people.
Okay, awesome. Wow, that's great. Look at you.
I'm trying.
Snaps. Okay. I guess lasting thoughts. What do you want people to take away
from this?
Yeah, your experience here.
I think that it was a great event, and if you're an artist of any kind, like, I just met a guy who does murals, but if you're an artist of any kind, I think like this is an event you can't miss. Like, you absolutely cannot miss this, not just because of the people you'll meet, not just because of the celebrities that come out, but the information you're going to get that'll allow you to progress in your career path.
So I want to give a shout out to A3C. They're celebrating 15 years.
That's amazing.
That's amazing, because you had a vision and you were able to improve each year. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to meet K Breeze here at your festival. I met a lot of different people. So thank you for bringing people together in Atlanta. So
yeah, And shout out to Atlanta. I did not know it would be this fun. I actually held back from coming here. I held back from coming here for like 3 years. So,
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, most definitely. My brother moved here with his son and his girlfriend, and I was gonna move here then, and I didn't.
Did fear stop you?
At the time, yes and no.
Okay.
At the time I was married, my wife is actually, my ex-wife is a successful teacher. I didn't want to pick her up and drag her here. The next thing is, I was scared. I was like, what am I doing in Atlanta? Like, is my podcast going to translate in Atlanta? All this other kind of stuff, when in all actuality, I'm the bomb.
So shout out to taking risk and, getting here. So
thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. We need this bubbly energy. Listen,
no problem.
If you enjoy her, please write something in the comments. Don't let her go anywhere. She has to come back.
Yes. Hit me up on IG at that's I-AM, Jade, Jadea. Look forward to hearing from you all. Bye.
And you can follow me on Instagram at _KBREEZE. That's Kate Breeze. And on Twitter and Facebook at El Cristo Negro, aka Black Jesus. Y'all have a good day, man.